George Soros' son Alex has tweeted out an article that the Gateway pundit is labeling as a direct threat of violence against Donald Trump. You can see the article includes two pictures, one of a bullet hole and $47 in the other photo. Some are taking it as an innuendo about the 47th president. It's an article from The Atlantic with the opening line saying, quote, "Last year, the crime and inflation crises largely evaporated. So did the leading stories about what had caused them." The article makes the argument that violent crime and inflation were both very bad in the beginning of 2023, but by year's end, both problems had magically evaporated. The article says it's remarkable that the vast majority of Americans polled still believe the economy is in the tank and that violent crime is very bad. The article throws a jab at Trump, saying, quote, "The absurdity of Trump as the normalcy candidate is almost too much to bear, especially because the normalcy that voters are desperately craving is in many ways already here, and Biden helped deliver it," it says. Well, joining the show to discuss is constitutional scholar and author of Paul Ingracia's Substack, Paul Ingracia himself. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been tweeting about this article as well, about Alex Soros's tweet. Do you take it as a threat to Trump?
Well, listen, I think at this point you can't put anything past the left, especially given who it's coming from. Alex Soros, the son of George Soros, as you said, Ivory, the man who is financing so many of these lawsuits. I mean, against President Trump, and trying to obviously throw everything at the wall and to see what sticks with these indictments. Each one, thankfully, are failing, but you know how the left plays their game. They're trying to obstruct and delay and hinder the process as much as possible. There's so many layers to this story, but it's insidious. And this report, by the way, I just want to mention right off the bat, this was an investigative report by my good friend Laura Loomer. And it showed, as you said, it was an article for The Atlantic magazine talking about how inflation and crime, despite many Americans realizing that these both are at record levels, they're trying to say that, explain that away and say, no, Bidenomics is working well for everyone. But the more insidious, darker element of this article is the image of these dollar bills arranged in such a fashion where there seems to be a lot of imagery and symbolism there suggesting a potential like bounty. They're trying to put out a bounty basically to anyone who would so dare try to take out President Trump, which is insane. It's evil, but again, you would not put this past them. I mean, the dollar bills have clearly displayed 4 and 5. So obviously that's a reference to the 45th president and Donald Trump. And there were 2 $1 bills to suggest like the silver bullet theory, which is, related to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And the other dollar bills were of $5 bill of President Lincoln, who was assassinated, Andrew Jackson, who was the first president for which there was an assassination attempt on, and a $10 bill with Alexander Hamilton, who of course died in that fateful duel with Aaron Burr. So it seems like it's very suggestive of something very insidious. And given what we know about the Soros family, given how much they hate Donald Trump, and given this came, just days after they had a conference in Davos in which Alex Soros was one of the speakers who was basically saying this is what we have to do in order to mitigate damage, knowing that President Trump is at this point, and all polls suggested, the likeliest candidate to not only win the Republican nomination. I'm in New Hampshire right now, and he's doing really well, and we're expecting a huge victory tomorrow, but also in the general election, where he's up by significant margins now over Joe Biden in the general election. So you see basically all of these indictments falling apart. You saw what happened over the past week with Bonnie Willis, exposing that whole thing, all the corruption that went on behind the scenes there between the Justice Department, Merrick Garland coordinating with her and her lover, the special prosecutor there. Really, everything's unraveling for them. So as they become more and more desperate, you might see more and more extreme measures, which obviously, God forbid, any of this happens. And this is why we have to continue to keep Trump in our prayers, the American people who support him, because, you can't put anything past what these people capable of thinking of this. So it's a terrible. I don't even like to talk about it, but the fact of the matter is, I do think it's correct to read this message there. And what I tweeted in response to it is that Elon Musk should flag this. He should, if this is true and it turns out to be the case, I think both the accounts of Alex Soros and the Atlantic magazine, which featured the article, should be permanently banned, because you cannot, it's a federal crime, of course, to conspire to try to obviously assassinate a president or former president of the United States.
Right, definitely. Well, that's a scary thought. The article was authored by someone named Roger Karma, but then, of course, blasted out by George Soros' son, Alex. Now, Paul, since you are out there in New Hampshire right now, I wanted to get your take as you volunteer with Trump. You said you're volunteering with his campaign today. You were there when he retired Ron DeSantis's nickname.
I was.
What was it? What's it like out there? He likes Ron again, huh?
Oh, it was a historic moment for many of us who have been fighting against the DeSantis people on Twitter, on social media over the past, year now, since he launched his failure to launch campaign back in May of last year. So it was. I was shocked to see that news drop so quickly that he wouldn't even make it to Tuesday's primary. But the good news is he dropped out and he endorsed President Trump, which is what we like to see: unity of the party behind the 47th president. So President Trump came in here. He came into the New Hampshire headquarters. They're doing such a great job. They have so many great volunteers. So he had to pay his respects to them. And he said, when asked by a reporter here, what do you think of the sanctimonious nickname? Donald Trump said it's officially retired. So it was an incredible moment for an incredible day. And we're expecting all that momentum behind him. And he was in such a good mood yesterday. He did another rally later that evening. We were expecting that to continue all through tomorrow, and to have yet another landslide victory over Nikki Haley, his only remaining opponent at this point.
Yeah, he's got a big lead on her right now. So we will see tomorrow what happens. Paul Ingracia, so great having you on. Thanks for coming on. And now a message from our sponsor, Field of Greens. Resolving to eat healthier this year is easy, but actually doing it, not so easy. Better nutrition is a key to health and longevity, and Field of Greens is helping me with that, thanks to their easy scoops of super fruits and vegetables. It's the only fruit and vegetable product that literally promises better health. At your next checkup, your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. Do your vitamins or green drinks promise better health? Nope. But each superfruit and vegetable in Field of Greens was doctor selected for a specific health benefit. Some support your heart, lungs, and kidneys. Others support metabolism for healthy energy and weight loss. Look, if you resolve to get healthy in 2024, it starts with Field of Greens. I got you 15% off your first order and free rush shipping. Visit fieldofgreens.com and use promo code HEADLINES. That's promo code HEADLINES at fieldofgreens.com, fieldofgreens.com.